All right. Hello, hello. So, what are we doing today? Well, first thing I suppose is we're gonna make sure the stream's okay. So, let's just do some very quick troubleshooting to make sure everything is sounding all right. Let me pull it up on my other computer. Make sure the stream's okay. So, all right, okay, I'm coming through. Good. Now, one of the big questions I had was, should I do music with these? Let me know if you want, like, if you think background music, some like very very soft background music would be nice or not. Okay. Anyways, what are we doing? We're actually gonna rank all the Thanksgiving foods. Woo! I don't really like Thanksgiving as a holiday. I feel like this might be hot take, but most of the food is like not that great, and I'll get into why later. Obviously, it's probably one of the worst holidays. Not the worst holiday. It's not Boxing Day or whatever that is in the northern country. But how are we going to rate the food on Thanksgiving? We're going to rate. I mean, this is elite. We'll get seconds. Great. Okay, maybe hard pass. Um, we'll get seconds. That sounds pretty good. But I'm also going to say like we'll eat any time of the year. Great is like this is kind of I'll say happy to have. Um, um, this middle tier is going to be acceptable, and then this will be what's below acceptable. Eating it to appear cultured. And then we got hard pass. I will not ingest this morsel into my mouth. Okay. That sounds pretty good for the ranking system. I should also say, like, we're ranking these Thanksgiving foods against each other, but I'm also going to consider, in addition to how good they are against one another, like how good they are across the course of the year. Like, what I mean, obviously, with my first tier, I have it insinuates that I'm going to be rating them if I can have them at other times of the year. And if I can, or if I'm happy to, then it's probably pretty dang good. So I think without any further ado, unless I'm forgetting something, but I don't think I am. So let's get into it. Okay, what do we got? Number one, obviously, the turkey. I mean, he's the centerpiece of the Thanksgiving meal. I don't think a Thanksgiving can be called a Thanksgiving if you don't have a turkey. That's got to be one of the essentials, correct? How good is it though? Turkey, honestly? Can I be real for a second? Like, out of all the times that I eat a poultry, it's mostly chicken, never turkey. I think it's just chicken actually. Like that's the main competition for the turkey, right? And whenever you go, oh man, whenever you go to the grocery store around Thanksgiving, there's just this massive turkeys that all of a sudden have been slaughtered, ready to be put on your table all at once. It's crazy. And guess how often I see a whole turkey, like a Thanksgiving turkey, at other times of the year? Never. I never ever do. But you know what they got at Costco in the back? Rotisserie chicken 24/7. They're not open all day and the machine ain't going the whole time, but maybe I should say 7 days a week, 52 weeks of the year. Yeah. All right. We're going to establish 752 as a new thing. They got rotisserie chicken 752. The chicken is clearly the superior bird. Okay, that's been established. There is turkey at other times of the year, right? It's just in like usually in the deli meat form instead of the whole turkey like they do on Thanksgiving, which if somebody gives you deli meat turkey on Thanksgiving, that'd be kind of silly. I don't think I've ever experienced that. But I would be kind of surprised. I would definitely be surprised if that happened to me. But the whole turkey, we're not grading the deli meat turkey. We're going to grade our Thanksgiving turkey that gets put in the oven like that, the whole bird. Is it actually good? Well, it's inferior to the chicken. And I don't I don't think this is a hot take, but like most people, nobody eats a whole turkey at any other time of the year. So immediately it can't get into the elite tier. Because no, I'm not eating this turkey at any other time of the year. Maybe because it takes a long time to prep. I don't care. I don't even eat deli meat turkey that much. I usually eat some other type of meat. Turkey is pretty low on the docket. But if I'm sitting at the Thanksgiving table and there's turkey, I gotta say, ooh, it's acceptable. I'm actually not happy to have turkey. I'd rather have a different meat. Turkey is like it's whatever you do to Thanksgiving turkey as well. They're pretty bland. Like it's just a piece of meat. There's no seasoning on it. There's like no rub. It's got all these other accentuators, these secondary actors with it that help it out because by George doesn't need it. And so I think if I'm looking at the turkey just on its lonesome, like this whole turkey, he's going into the acceptable tier. Okay, we're gonna take a short intermission while I go clear my throat because this is more talking than I've done in the past month. So I'll be right back. And Mark. Okay, sorry about that. I think we're back. This will be probably cut from the final video, but if it's not, hey, we're still here. Mark. Okay. Pumpkin pie. There's a trend around Thanksgiving foods where you actually so many of them you just have at Thanksgiving and you never have them at any other time of the year. And you want to know why? Because they just are not that good. If I had to put I think every Thanksgiving has a pumpkin pie, But normally, okay, actually, right after that, we see apple pie. It's like you get your choice between pumpkin pie and apple pie. So immediately we get a direct pie comparison, and these two are going to face off in the realm of the circular dessert. I'm going to have to say that the pumpkin pie is strictly inferior to the apple pie. I don't think there's a way around it. And as a standalone, even if the apple pie wasn't there, I think pumpkin pie is one of the very few desserts that I might choose to forego because it simply is not that good. I like pumpkin shakes. What is it? A pumpkin, like, what do they have at Jamba Juice? It's like a pumpkin smoothie they make. That's really good. Pumpkin smash. I haven't tried a pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks, but I could be a basic bitch in my heart. I like pumpkin muffins. I like pumpkin bread, but there's just something different about pumpkin pie. It's not. It doesn't live up to any of the other pumpkin products, and I'd much rather have pumpkin in some other form than a pie. So it's definitely not my favorite, but if we are at the dinner table for Thanksgiving, I will still eat it just to appear cultured. Just so the host doesn't cry when I say I don't want dessert, and then I have to have a talk about why. Oh, why don't you want dessert, Owen? Are you like okay? Are you feeling well? Did you eat too much? What's the matter? No, I just don't like pumpkin pie. What? You don't like pumpkin pie? What's are you? Is it? Did you have like a bad experience when you were young? Did you get your head smashed into a pumpkin pie? No, I don't want to go through that. So I'm just gonna take the slice of pumpkin pie, say thank you, put the little whipped cream on it, which I also don't really like, and just eat it. I can get it down, but I'd rather not. Okay, apple pie. Already he's already got a leg up because he's got his comparison that's down there. Okay, apple pie is pretty dang good. It's not eaten often outside of like big gatherings. Most pies aren't, I feel. But I'm going to keep this very simple. Apple pie is fantastic, and I would have it at any point in at any day. It's got the sweetness of the apples. It's got a fantastic crust that goes on it. I don't think I've had. You know what a phenomenon is with apple pie that I haven't had is cheese on your apple pie, and I've never experienced that, but I think it might be one of my desires. That's probably going to be the next way we make apple pie here, if I have my way. And I'm not saying I think what you do is you shred it on the crust while it's still baking. I know some like rednecks throw a Kraft single on their apple pie after it comes out of the oven and it kind of melts onto it. That is really nasty, and I don't think I would ever do that. But maybe if you put the cheese on like maybe 10 to 15 minutes before it comes out of the oven, and then it gets to caramelize in there for a little bit and doesn't get burned. That sounds pretty good, actually. I really want to try that. But even without that, I still put apple pie up here. It's so good. What else is there to say? Well, it's not my favorite pie, but it's definitely good enough to get into any other time of the year, and it's better than most of the Thanksgiving foods. Okay, biscuits. Biscuits are the turkey, but in bread form. They're very not bland, but bland. They need help. What is? Oh God, dinner rolls too. Okay, also we're gonna put this right here. Is there a difference between like? I mean, I know the difference between biscuits and dinner rolls. A dinner roll is like more typical. It's kind of just like white bread. a biscuit is much more hearty in its taste and texture. So I guess if I have to pick between my choice of bread option, I'd I think I would go biscuit. A a biscuit is pretty good, man. And you don't get them that often. A dinner roll is just like again, it's just like white bread, right? And what are you making? I Some people make like a Thanksgiving sandwich, but if you're going with the dinner roll, the only thing you can put on it is really I I'm not gonna make a Thanksgiving sandwich at the table. That's crazy. That's usually what you do for leftovers, so people don't think you're insane. For some reason, it's not acceptable at the Thanksgiving table. Okay, but a biscuit. Let's see. Dinner roll, you really only have butter to put on it, and that's it. I feel like with a biscuit, you can put jam on it, and it'd be really good. And they're much better standalone than a dinner roll is, which is what a dinner roll kind of is in this situation. Biscuit, I'll eat biscuits at other times of the year too, man. A biscuit's good. Like for breakfast, freshly baked biscuits with a little bit of butter jam. That's a top tier food right there. He's going up here with the apple pie. Dinner roll though, I there was a time when these little Hawaiian rolls were taking off, and I would have them. I would eat them, but I was never like enthusiastically eating them. I just kind of ate them because they were there and they were bread, and I'm a sucker for carbs. But the dinner roll itself, looking back, I kind of wish I was just eating biscuits instead of dinner rolls. Dinner rolls? I mean, at the Thanksgiving table, ooh, at the Thanksgiving table, I'm happy to have them. So I'm going to put them here. But usually I would say they're just acceptable. That's a hard one though. It's pretty much in the like right in the middle of these two. It's like the happy to be acceptable category. Okay, Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts, I lament in their difficulty to cook properly because they come with such a bitter flavor and it feels like they're either bitter or burnt. But I mean, look at that. They've got to be done well. And when they're done well, they're dang good. I think the only good Brussels sprout I had recently was I went to a Mediterranean restaurant, and that restaurant did the Brussels sprouts with some bacon, some vinaigrette, and they were actually very good. So I think the Brussels sprout can have its heights set very high. When we're at the Thanksgiving table, though, what I don't even know if I've ever had Brussels sprouts at the Thanksgiving table. I don't know what this thing is doing here. But I feel like if they were at the table, they wouldn't be prepared that well. They'd be done by a home cook who just did the Brussels sprouts by themselves. But maybe that's not a fair way to judge Brussels sprouts. But I haven't had them at Thanksgiving before. If they were at the table, I'm going to say they were done simply. They'd probably just be like, I'd probably just eat them to be cultured if they were done poorly. Otherwise, they'd be like, I'd be happy to have them. One moment, just checking something. Okay, we're good. Squash. Okay, we're gonna have to Google something really quickly because, to be honest, I don't know how a squash is prepared at Thanksgiving. It's not just like this where you just get two halves of a squash and they chunk one on your plate. How do you prepare a squash at Thanksgiving? I guess we're going to tasteofhome.com for this one. Oh, please don't make me do this. Okay. Some websites they make you click through to get to the next picture. This one at least you can scroll down. Squash, pureed squash and Brussels sprouts. All of these are okay. Waffle iron acorn squash. What the hell? Okay. Well, I lament because I have never had butternut squash at a Thanksgiving meal. Apparently, I don't recognize it. I don't know what it's doing here. I don't think I would dislike it, but I can't judge it fairly, so we're just going to put it here for now. I'm sorry, squash. I think I have failed you. I do like butternut squash though. Maybe it's acceptable. I'm gonna put it in the middling tier for now, just because I feel like I can't fairly judge him. Okay, jellied cranberry. This has got to be maybe one of the grossest Thanksgiving looking foods. It comes out of a can in a gelatinous form and it shakes like it's got the runs. I don't I don't think I dislike cranberries, but if they're jellied cranberries from a can, there's something just very off-putting about the shape of it and the way it holds itself. I don't know, man. I it's just too gelatinous. Look at that. Like if we're having Thanksgiving, normally somebody makes cranberries and they put a bunch of different spices in it, and they're not from a can. Obviously, they're like real. I mean, not real. I don't want to say like it's not real. They start with the base cranberry, and they cook it down, and they put a bunch of different spices in it, and they make it fantastic. The jellied cranberry, I'm gonna rate them lower definitely than the cranberries that I've had at my Thanksgiving dinners. Jellied cranberry, I think. Okay, here's the other thing about the cranberry, right? Even cranberry sauce. Oh, there's two forms of cranberry. Okay, I see now. This is what I normally have is cranberry sauce. Cranberry sauce, I kind of been talking a lot about it. So cranberry sauce, super good. Very happy to have, but we never have cranberry sauce outside of Thanksgiving because, man, I don't know. What are you gonna do with it, right? It's like a side dish, but it's a side dish to like Thanksgiving foods, I guess. So you don't normally eat those, and therefore the cranberry sauce can't be eaten outside of Thanksgiving either. It's fallen to the guilt by association category. Okay, jellied cranberry is definitely below cranberry sauce. It's just a tube of cranberry because they didn't have the time or energy to make a cranberry sauce. But because if you look at most of these Thanksgiving foods, I feel like the cranberry is very necessary as an acid on the plate. And so because it just accentuates the other foods so well, I'm going to have to give it an acceptable. I am okay eating jellied cranberries because they're so necessary when you got the bland turkey, the bland dinner roll, the bland biscuit. I mean, the biscuit is super bland. The bland potatoes. The jellied cranberry is super necessary. Okay. Otherwise, he'd be in like appearing cultured. I would just eat it to like make people happy. Okay, green bean casserole. This is an interesting one for me. I hate green beans with a passion, but apparently I don't because I eat green bean casserole when it's served to me on Thanksgiving. But I don't particularly like it. And I'd actually rather avoid it if I can. But I can eat it if it makes other people happy. So I'm just going to be really short and sweet with this one because I really don't want to look at it anymore. I can eat it, but I'm not that happy about it. All right, cornbread. Cornbread's cool. Something I hate about cornbread, okay, when I have a cornbread, I want the consistency to be the same throughout. Some people have, or I think I've had cornbread where there have been actual kernels of corn still in the bread, like somebody just shaved the corn off the cob and then they dumped it into the mixture and then they made the bread. And that was really off-putting to me. Cornbread, if it's not done like that, if it's done, you got the same texture throughout. Cornbread's pretty good as a bread option. I don't think there's any other time we really eat cornbread outside of Thanksgiving. It's got to be just Thanksgiving, right? Because one of the problems with cornbread is it becomes just so dry. It's similar to eating a like just sand, and it even has the same color appearance. So cornbread has that fault, and it's competing against so many other breads. It clearly just fails to hold up. That being said, although it can't get a spot in the elite tier with a biscuit, I am happy to have cornbread as a side bread option at my Thanksgiving dinner. He's great to bring along. He brings some different unique flavors to the table. Okay, actual corn. Contrary to popular belief, corn and cornbread are not the same thing. Even though I just described dumping the kernels into the cornbread mixture. Corn is I feel kind of bad. This is going to be such a hot take. Corn is really gross to eat and look at. I don't know what it is. Is corn even? We're going to have to do a quick. Corn is a vegetable, right? It's actually classified by botanists as a fruit. Corn is some mutant of a creation, a spawn of the herbivores that should have never been crafted. I'm not into this type of corn. You can give me corn in probably any other form, but if I have to bite into it on the cob or eat the kernels, I'm not into that. If somebody put a piece of corn in front of me at Thanksgiving, I would ask them why are you putting your food on my plate? Because I do not consider this my food. It is a hard pass on corn. Creamed corn, just when you thought corn couldn't get any grosser, you put it in a vomit-like looking substance, and you're basically you can't decide if the dog threw up or your wife just came out with dinner. This is atrocious. I don't even know why you would. This is so gross. Hard pass. Gravy. Oh god. Okay. Gravy is, I think, the only sauce at Thanksgiving. There's kind of other liquids like cranberry sauce, even though it's called the cranberry sauce. I wouldn't really. I mean, I guess it's a sauce, but gravy. It's too. It's more like a jam, I would say, in my mind. It's not so much a sauce. Don't get technical with me, young chef. I don't want to hear about your food knowledge where you say, well, technically the cranberry sauce was boiled down and 150 degrees and it's liquefied enough to where it can be considered. I don't care. It's a jam. Gravy is the liquid that is I would say most people would consider very necessary to the Thanksgiving dinner, considering I just mentioned the dry cornbread and the bland. So gravy is a great unifier of the foods. it helps to really bring a lot of flavor to the meal that it needs. I don't. I think you have gravy sometimes outside of Thanksgiving, like for Christmas and other big holiday events, but you don't. Well, no, I guess you can go to a restaurant and order like mashed potatoes and steak and gravy. I think. I guess that's the thing. But the reason, there's a reason I don't know about typical gravy consumption, and that's because I'm not part of that tribe. Which, I mean, you can probably guess where our gravy's going. The gravy boat is going into the creamed corn section. You might as well just pour this gravy right with the creamed corn for me, and I'll just send it along its way. I don't want to see it. I am not a fan of gravy. I'm sorry, it's a hot take. There's no way I don't get flack for this. Okay. Ham. Ham is traditionally a very good meat. We have it around Christmas time. This is okay, this is like ham on the bone, right? This isn't the deli meat ham because during, a lot of the year, I think at least in school lunches, I used to have a ham and cheese sandwich, I think, for quite a while. And that was like deli meat ham. And even growing up, there was this Black Forest ham that we used to get at Costco that was really good, and then they discontinued it because they're insane, and they replaced it with this Columbus ham that is not nearly up to the same standard and just looks kind of slimy instead of very clean cut like the Black Forest ham does. It looks like a slimy piece of meat that you'd get kind of at the edge of a sewer. It's not. It doesn't appeal to me in that way. Okay. I don't know why Costco got rid of the Black Forest ham. That was the best product for ham they had there, and so now I just can't buy ham anymore. But I would love to get that Black Forest ham again. This, however, is ham on the bone, which you don't buy unless it's a holiday, Christmas or Thanksgiving, I think. Maybe Easter. Is there an Easter ham? Is that a thing? We don't really celebrate Easter? Maybe it's a thing. I don't know. Okay, ham on the bone. He is right there along with the turkey. They suffer from the same symptoms of being bland and dry. And I know you can what I've seen done is you glaze the outside of the ham with something, but you're covering just the outside when there's 95% of the ham has been unseasoned in any way, it feels like. And it's just this bland, slimy piece of meat off the bone. It's a pain in the butt to get it off the bone. I hate cutting the ham. I don't like that. I don't think, does it go with anything else on here? I can stomach it because it's got some saviors that really help it out. But as a meat option, I feel like the ham on the bone is not great. Now, if somebody gave it to me, I can eat it. It's very similar to the turkey. In fact, it's so similar, we're going to put them right next to each other. That's where they belong together. The pig and the bird. Okay. Mac and cheese. Do I even need to comment on this one? I'm just going to throw this out there for I need to watch my words. If you don't like cheese, you're wrong. Mac and cheese is great. I feel like I don't need to say anything else about that. Although perhaps you could make the argument that like at Thanksgiving dinner, mac and cheese is a side dish and doesn't deserve the preparation and attention it should get. Because when it's being made, it's just kind of thrown together as an afterthought and when you have so much other stuff to worry about. But if it's done well, it can be really good. Rest of the year, I'm very happy just having mac and cheese for dinner. It's great. Mashed potatoes, again, very similar. We're not going to waste too much time. We're not going to faff about. Let's not joke ourselves mashed potatoes is an elite tier food. It's probably the elitist of the elite, with mac and cheese right there with it. I, excuse me. Thank you. Yeah, you can't go wrong. People eat mashed potatoes all the time. It doesn't matter if it's Thanksgiving or not. Mashed potatoes are amazing. Just don't give me the box stuff, like the, what is it, mashed potato powder or whatever. That stuff is nasty. But if you get some potatoes, you cook them, you mash them, very easy, very simple, tastes great, fantastic. Red wine. Okay, well, as a non-alcoholic drinker, I feel a little out of my element here. I mean, as a non-out, yeah, I I kind of gave it away. It's a hard pass. What? I'm sorry. I don't drink alcohol. I'm sure red wine is great, and much like the cranberries, it provides some acid to the meal. But I'm just not an alcohol drinker, man. I don't even need it to deal with my family on Thanksgiving. I can just sit there and be quiet without it. If I drink, oh my god, if I drink alcohol, I might become talkative and people might actually enjoy having me over during Thanksgiving. This is, maybe I should be an alcohol drinker. I've been told that many times, which means the peer pressure is getting to me because I'm considering it. Don't give in to peer pressure. Say no to the red wine on Thanksgiving. Roasted vegetables. That's very vague. What vegetables are we roasting? Squash? Uh, what? I don't know. Potato? Uh, pumpkin? What are we roasting? I feel like if I had a plate of assorted roasted vegetables, I'd be like, okay, this is fine. I can definitely try the stuff here and be okay. And if they're roasted too, they're probably fresh, which, I mean, they could be frozen, but it's not like a mushy thing, which I feel like there's a lot of mushy stuff in Thanksgiving. Most of this is like mushy and has no texture. So having something roasted with like a crunchy exterior, I'd say they're pretty acceptable, man. Even for a vegetable, which is not as a, what's the word? Not as a law, but I'm not a vegetable hater. I will eat vegetables. Okay. What does that say? Oh, scalloped potatoes. What is that E doing there? Is that a mistype? Scalloped potatoes? Yeah. What? Okay. I don't know what scalloped potatoes are, but sure. Scalloped potatoes. I do know what those are though. Without the E. I guess the E is silent for this person. Maybe it's Dutch. Those freaking Dutch. So scalloped potatoes. I mean, I think potatoes have already been established as fantastic, just as a base. But how are they when they're in the scalloped form with cheese on them and a white sauce? I think it's a bechamel. They are still very good. Yes, it's true. That not the cheese and the white sauce do not ruin a potato. I know the fat on a potato is great. So scalloped potatoes, how do they fare though? We already have mashed potatoes. Do they stack up to mashed potatoes? And do I eat scalloped potatoes any other time of the year? I think scalloped potatoes are mostly, I feel, I never really have them at any other point. I think that goes for a lot of people too. Like mashed potatoes is the more common side if you're picking a potato side compared to scallop. But scalloped potatoes, that just might be because they take more effort than a mashed potato because you have to scallop the potato, which is cutting it into like these little mandolin pieces. I'm, oh, this is tough, man. I feel like they're so even, but I want to I feel bad about putting them in the elite because I really don't eat them any other time of the year. But I would be happy to. If somebody gave me scalloped potatoes, I would be happy to eat them at any other point. Okay, we're going up here, but we're putting you behind mac and cheese. Okay. All right, I have to go and rate all of these. Have I been doing that? Yeah, they're pretty much in the order I want. I think that's probably bottom. Yeah, I think I'd rather drink alcohol over creamed corn, over eating creamed corn. Okay. Um, Sparkling juice. Okay, this is for the kids and me apparently because I don't drink alcohol. So sparkling juice. We always have sparkling apple juice on Thanksgiving, and it's pretty good. It's got no problems with it. I sometimes had it occasionally. If it's like on sale at Costco, we'll buy a 4-pack of the giant sparkling juice, and it will last for quite a while because I don't drink it that often. But when I do, I usually drink the whole bottle at once because I have no self control. The sparkling juice is a very solid drink option. It's got carbonation, which people like. It's got the delicious sugary notes. It's got the fruity smells. We go up here. We put it in elite. It's fantastic. We have it any time of the year. The only thing stopping me is I know how unhealthy it is to drink a whole damn bottle of this stuff. Otherwise, I would have a glass with me right now instead of this water. Okay, stuffing. Stuffing is a very interesting one. This is I have a friend whose favorite item at the Thanksgiving meal is stuffing. And for good reason too, because stuffing is good. I think there's a lot of bad stuffing and there's a lot of good stuffing. You can do so much with it, and it can be so incredibly different from one person to the next depending on who's making it. Stuffing is almost a meal on its own as well. It's lacking the meat, but it's got so many other different elements in it. It feels like you can just have the stuffing and not miss out on pretty much anything. I would say stuffing is a solid food to have at Thanksgiving. But do we eat it any other time of the year? Not really. It doesn't, I feel like it doesn't have the same, it might just be tradition, but it doesn't feel the same if you're not having it on Thanksgiving. It kind of feels like you're just eating bread and some random pieces of vegetables or meat. I think, surprisingly, I'm going to put it right here. I'm happy to have stuffing, but I don't think I'd really eat it any other time of the year. And not many other people do. It's not in like a daily diet for pretty much anyone. All right, last but not least, sweet potato casserole. This is what? Sweet potatoes, marshmallows. It's kind of like a goopy, gooey dessert. It's almost like a Thanksgiving s'more if you had some graham crackers to put on each side. And obviously, the sweet potato is substitute for the chocolate. Maybe this is a horrible analogy. It's only got marshmallows. Not that much stuff has marshmallows though. Okay, sweet potato casserole is very unique though. Who would have thought putting like marshmallows on sweet potato and having them be really sweet would be a tradition that happens in Thanksgiving? I wouldn't have thought of that. That's pretty cool. As a dessert item, I don't think we ever have sweet potato casserole outside of Thanksgiving. I'm not even sure if you can, if like any restaurants make it outside of that time. I don't think they make it even during that time, man. That being said, sweet potato casserole is pretty good. It's like just a load of sugar. So if you have a sweet tooth, you really like it. So I think, now that I've said that, actually, I was gonna put sweet potato casserole here. Because like it'd be great to have it. Like I wouldn't have any problems. But I feel like it's just too sweet. I'm actually gonna put it in the acceptable. Like it's like, yes, It's okay to have it. I'll put it right behind turkey. But I'm not that excited about it. It just doesn't do it for me. Yeah, sweet potato casserole acceptable. Final verdict. Is everything acceptable? All right, we have both of the potato dishes in the top, both of the corn dishes in the bottom. Everything is as it should be. Thanos has snapped his fingers and completed the Thanksgiving tier list challenge. So, what do we do now? Well, feel free to at me later with your opinions and comments because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with me and I want to hear why. And that might help me improve on the next video too. So let me know what you thought, and hey, I'll see you next time.